Hi, thank you so much for stopping by ritualistically to spend a moment with me. My name is Mo, and I'm your host. How are you guys doing out there? Especially those who've lost someone, whether it was a year ago, 10 years ago, or somewhere in between. It doesn't matter, does it? When that riptide current of grief pulls you down, it's as relentless as the sea. You can't fight it, and you can't escape it. What you can do is learn to live in it. Not with it, but in it. You've got to become a mermaid. Learn to breathe underwater, to move with the current, not against it. That's the essence of Capricorn energy, and tonight is the new black moon in 6 degrees of Capricorn. I did a video yesterday about it. But the essence of Capricorn energy is facing what cannot be avoided, dealing with what can't be undone. I'm not here to offer you fixes because there are no fixes for this. There's no cure, no spell, no magic that makes this pain vanish. Anyone who tells you otherwise hasn't been through it. This is work you have to do yourself. When I lost my husband on December 10th, 2 years ago, the first thing I had to do was clear out every single thing in the house that reminded me of him. And let me tell you, people did not understand. They looked at me like I was rushing to erase him. But that wasn't it at all. The truth is, everything in this house was waiting for him to come back, and he wasn't coming back. Holding on to those things felt like he was shouting at me, "Let me go." And as much as it hurt, I had to let him go. The wheelchair, the medical bed, his clothes, his shoes, every bit of it had to go. I had to empty the room where he spent his last days, not because I wanted to forget him, but because it was the only way I could survive. It didn't make sense to anyone else, and honestly, I didn't care. I live in this body, run by this mind, and when the mind goes dark, when you're pulled under into that suffocating blackness, no one else can save you. That's what people call the dark night of the soul. But really, I call it the dark night of the mind. The soul is fine. The mind isn't. In those moments, you learn to mermaid it. It's not pretty and it's not easy, but you figure out how to come up for air again, slowly, one breath at a time. And we're going to talk about this a bit. For those of you carrying wounds that won't heal, the kind that drag you back under just when you think you can breathe again, listen up. When the sea goat's depths pull you down, the only way forward is to become a mermaid. You've got to learn to live underwater. It's not pretty, it's not easy, and it's never something you see coming. It catches you in a riptide of grief that's too powerful to fight. You can't swim against it, and you can't escape it. The only way to survive is to swim alongside it, in your style. So how do you do that? How do you stay afloat when the loss is so profound, like losing a child? How do you stop it from swallowing you whole? The truth is, you don't escape the pain. You learn to carry it. You've chosen to live, and that means carrying the weight of that grief as a part of your existence. It's certainly not easy. You can try to frame that pain differently, thinking of it not just as a reminder of loss, but a reminder of love. that something. Now, it'll still be sharp and aching. That memory is hard. But it's proof of the bond you shared. Yes, it will stab you in the heart, and yes, it will make you bleed. But it can also make you smile through your tears, bittersweet as it is. Ask yourself, even in the depths of that pain, would you trade it all to avoid the loss? Would you erase them from your life to escape the grief? You already know the answer. You'd endure this pain 100 times over just to have had them here with you, even for a moment. It's deep. It's hard. And it's lifelong. It doesn't go away. But that's the challenge, to carry the love and the pain, and to live with both. Actually, I've pulled some cards for this. I've used this beautiful deck. It was another one that I got during the Christmas. I got a lot of tarot gifts. And it doesn't even have a name. It's just a golden tarot in the Rider-Waite Smith style. But it's very slinky, very slippery, like Neptune. So I've already pulled 7 cards, and I'm going to read it. The first card that I pulled was the Knight of Wands reversed. My interpretation of this is rage, and I think that's spot on. Because the reversed Knight of Wands shows someone consumed by their anger, and anger so fiery, it's become reckless and unfocused. This isn't just rage at the situation, it's an existential anger that feels directionless, yet consuming. It's as though the energy that could propel you forward is sabotaged, causing you to lash out at the unfairness of it all. This is raw, unprocessed grief, manifesting in its most volatile form. The next card is the Eight of Cups reversed. Now, while upright, this card often symbolizes walking away to seek deeper meaning. Reversed, it suggests hesitation or an inability to fully let go. And it speaks to an inner conflict. On one hand, there's the urge to disengage from life entirely. But on the other, there's a small, quiet resistance that suggests that somewhere within there's a flicker of hope or an acknowledgement that leaving isn't the answer. Even if you don't consciously realize it yet, it's there, that hope. It hints at the first steps towards some kind of acceptance. And the next card is the Hierophant reversed. And I think on this one, the reverse Hierophant shows a complete disconnection from traditional sources of comfort, be it religion, spirituality, or community. You feel isolated, unsupported, and misunderstood by systems that are supposed to guide or ground you. This is grief's alienation, making it feel as though no one and nothing can truly touch or alleviate the depth of your pain. The Knight of Swords upright. Now, this is a fascinating card in this context because it represents action, movement, and sometimes a frantic need to do something to counter the paralysis of grief. Perhaps this shows your attempt to distract yourself by staying busy, throwing yourself into activities to avoid sinking deeper. But the Knight of Swords can also represent anger channeled into sharp, cutting words or impulsive actions. It's grief acting out, trying to find an outlet, even if it's not a healthy one. And the next card is death. Death is transformation, an unavoidable force of change. And here it represents both the literal and symbolic death in your life. This card asks the hard question, which we just touched on. Would you have traded the joy of knowing your child or person to avoid this grief? And the answer is no. This card reminds you that endings are painful, but also a gateway to profound change. Change in the way you look at things. The transformation is not about moving on, but about learning to live with the loss as part of your story. 5 of Cups reversed. This offers a glimmer of hope. While grief has you fixated on what's been lost, this reversal suggests the possibility of seeing what remains. It's a subtle shift from drowning in sorrow to realizing there's still something, anything, worth holding on to. It's about recognizing that while the pain will never disappear, you can begin to integrate it into your life without it completely defining you. And the last card is the Ace of Pentacles. This card is a beautiful ending. It shows the potential for new beginnings, very small, maybe not even recognizable yet. But it's a very small, tangible step toward grounding yourself in life again. This isn't about moving past the pain. It's about finding a reason, however small, to stay connected to the physical world. It's the seed of healing, where you start to rediscover value and meaning in the here and now. So let me summarize it. This spread, I feel, reflects where you might be in your journey of grief. There's a raw, consuming anger that makes it feel impossible to breathe or see past the pain. You're disconnected from anything that could comfort you, feeling adrift in a world that doesn't understand your loss. But within this, there's a quiet resistance to giving up, a part of you that wants to hold on, even if you don't know how. This is a process of transformation, as agonizing as it is. The grief will never go away, and the riptides will keep pulling you under. But in time, you'll begin to swim with them instead of against them. You'll learn to breathe underwater, to carry the love and the loss together. There's hope in this reading. Not a quick fix, but a slow and steady renewal. The Ace of Pentacles reminds you that life still holds value, even in the midst of this pain. It's not about forgetting or moving on. It's about finding a way to live with what's happened and still reach for what's ahead. Thank you so much for stopping by. Bye.